Imagine waking up in the morning with a sense of clarity, energy, and purpose that almost feels unfair. You move through your day not just checking off tasks, but actually making progress on your biggest goals, while others around you seem to be spinning their wheels. That's the feeling we're aiming for. Productivity so effective, so smooth, that it feels almost like you've discovered a cheat code for life. The truth is, ultra productivity isn't about working harder. It's about mastering a handful of subtle, powerful habits and mindsets that multiply your results with less effort. Let's break down these techniques step by step so you can start experiencing this unfair level of productivity for yourself. First, let's address the most fundamental shift. Stop relying on motivation and start relying on systems. Motivation is unpredictable. Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days, it's a struggle to get out of bed. The most productive people don't wait for motivation. They build routines and systems that guide their behavior, even on low-energy days. Imagine your productivity as a train. Once it's on the tracks, momentum does most of the work. Your job is to lay those tracks in advance. Start by designing a morning ritual that primes you for effectiveness. This isn't about squeezing in a 2-hour workout or a complicated routine. It's about setting a predictable pattern that signals to your brain, it's time to get things done. For some, it's making the bed, drinking a glass of water, and planning the day. For others, it's a short walk outside or a few minutes of journaling. The key is consistency. When you repeat the same actions each morning, you train your brain to enter a productive state automatically, bypassing the need for willpower. Next, harness the power of clarity. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Each evening, take 5 minutes to write down the 3 most important tasks for the next day. Not 10, not 5, just 3. This forces you to prioritize, to separate the truly important from the merely urgent. When you wake up, you already know exactly where to focus your energy. This simple habit eliminates decision fatigue and sets you up for a series of small, satisfying wins. Now let's talk about the mirror technique for productivity. This is about holding up a mirror to your habits and asking, is this action moving me toward my goals or just keeping me busy? For example, imagine 2 people at their desks. One is bouncing between emails and social media, feeling busy but accomplishing little. The other blocks out distractions and works on a single project for 45 minutes, then takes a short break. The difference? The second person is using deliberate, focused attention, a superpower in the age of distraction. Try this. Before starting any task, ask yourself, is this the highest and best use of my time right now? Over time, this habit will rewire your brain to seek out the actions that actually move the needle. Ultra-productive people also master the art of the yes ladder, not just for influencing others, but for influencing themselves. Here's how it works. Rather than setting a massive, intimidating goal, I'll write 5,000 words today, you start with micro-commitments that are impossible to refuse. I'll write for just 5 minutes. Once you start, momentum builds. Each small win is a psychological yes that makes the next step easier. This technique leverages the power of momentum and makes it much harder to procrastinate. Another overlooked secret: leverage the because principle. In psychology, when we give ourselves a reason for doing something, even a simple one, we're more likely to follow through. Don't just tell yourself, I need to finish this report. Instead, say, I'm finishing this report because it will close out a stressful task and free up my evening. The because gives your actions context, which boosts your internal motivation and makes your efforts feel purposeful rather than arbitrary. Here's a practical strategy that feels almost illegal in its effectiveness. Batch similar tasks together. Our brains are like computers. Constantly switching between different types of work drains our mental resources. By grouping similar activities, like answering emails, making phone calls, or doing deep creative work, into dedicated blocks of time, you minimize context switching and work exponentially faster. For example, instead of checking your inbox 20 times a day, set 2 dedicated times to process all your messages at once. You'll be amazed at how much time and mental energy this frees up. Let's address energy management, often overlooked in the productivity conversation. Productivity isn't just about time management. It's about managing your focus and energy. Notice when you naturally have the most energy during the day. For many people, it's the first 2 to 4 hours after waking up. Reserve this prime time for your most important, demanding tasks. Save routine or administrative work for times when your energy dips. By aligning your work with your natural rhythms, you get more done with less effort, and it feels almost like cheating. Now, think about the power of environmental design. Imagine trying to concentrate in a cluttered, noisy room versus a clean, quiet space. Your environment either pulls you toward your goals or distracts you from them. Take 5 minutes right now to declutter your workspace. Remove anything not related to your current project. Consider using noise-canceling headphones or a simple playlist to block out distractions. A well-designed environment acts as a silent partner in your productivity, nudging you to stay on track without conscious effort. Let's not forget the role of human connection. Productivity doesn't have to be lonely. In fact, one of the most powerful hacks is to add a layer of social accountability. Tell a friend, colleague, or online community what you intend to accomplish each day. Better yet, set up a regular check-in where you report your progress. This taps into our natural desire for social approval and makes it much harder to let important tasks slide. Another subtle but powerful mindset shift. Learn to celebrate progress, not just perfection. When you cross a task off your list, take a moment to acknowledge it. This triggers a small hit of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, which reinforces productive behavior. Even if you only complete part of your to-do list, focus on what you did accomplish rather than what's left undone. Over time, this creates a virtuous cycle. Progress breeds motivation, which breeds more progress. Let's delve into the art of saying no. The most productive people aren't those who say yes to everything. They're the ones who protect their time fiercely. Every time you say yes to a new commitment, you're saying no to something else. Before agreeing to new projects, social events, or requests from others, ask yourself, does this align with my top priorities? If not, politely decline. Remember, your time is your most precious resource, and you're allowed to guard it. Now, let's talk about the underestimated magic of sleep. You can't be ultra-productive if you're running on fumes. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's the foundation of high performance. A well-rested mind is sharper, more creative, and more resilient to stress. Aim to get at least 7 hours per night and establish a wind-down routine that signals to your brain that it's time to rest. This might include dimming the lights, reading, or practicing simple relaxation techniques. Quality sleep is the ultimate productivity hack. It supercharges your mind and body for the day ahead. Here's a tactic that feels almost sneaky. Use external triggers to automate good habits. For example, leave your gym clothes by the bed so you practically trip over them in the morning, making it easier to work out. Or set your most important project as your computer's home screen, so it's the first thing you see when you log in. These small cues remove friction and make the right actions almost automatic. Let's not overlook the power of reflection. At the end of each week, take 10 minutes to review your progress. What worked well? What drained your energy? What can you adjust for next week? This habit allows you to fine-tune your systems and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Over time, these small course corrections add up to massive gains in productivity. Now imagine applying these techniques consistently. Your days start to feel lighter, more focused. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become manageable, even enjoyable. You find yourself finishing work earlier, with more time for the people and activities you love. The sense of control and accomplishment grows, and others begin to notice. They ask, "How do you get so much done?" You smile, knowing you've mastered a set of habits that, while simple, give you an edge that feels almost unfair. Remember, the goal isn't to become a robot churning out endless work. It's to create a life where you achieve what matters most, without burning out. Productivity, at its core, is about making space for what's truly important, freeing yourself from the tyranny of urgent but unimportant tasks, and enjoying the process along the way. If you want to be so productive it feels illegal, start with small, consistent changes. Build systems, not just to-do lists. Focus on the vital few tasks that move you forward. Design your environment and routines to support your goals. Protect your energy, your time, and your sleep. Most importantly, treat yourself with compassion. Progress, not perfection, is the real secret. You don't need superhuman discipline or endless motivation. You just need the right habits, applied consistently. Try these techniques for a week and notice how your days transform. Soon you'll experience that unfair sense of momentum, the feeling of being in control, on purpose, and ahead of the game. That's the real secret to productivity that feels almost too good to be true. And it's entirely within your reach, starting today.